Hello and welcome to Misti Arts and Crafts. I'm Livy and today I'll be showing you a textured blended die cut background technique. I don't know exactly what to call it. I saw it on the Honeybee YouTube channel. Joy Baldwin showed a similar technique and I just wanted to give a little different spin on it and just show it with you guys because I thought it was really creative and fun. And yeah, I will link that video in the upper right corner for you so that you can go see that. As well to get a little different spin on the one I'm doing here. So I'm starting by cutting from some white cardstock. I'm using the Simon Says Stamp Soft Serve Cone die set as well as the Spellbinders Mini Blooms and Sprig die set, and I'm just cutting them several times from white cardstock. I will then layer them with some liquid glue. It's pretty self-explanatory for the soft serve cone. You don't need to layer the other ones necessarily. I will do that. I will explain that part later, but for the layering of the cones, it's pretty self-explanatory, and you can kind of see how it's layered on the packaging. So yeah. I thought this was really fun for summer and I was really feeling the summer vibes, so I wanted to use the ice cream cone. I thought this technique also lended itself to ice cream cones, so that's why I'm using them today. After I have them all layered, I will then show you how I added them to this card. Oh, I guess I'm going to start with the flowers. So I have this mask that I made. I just cut it out with my Cricut, but you can use any heart mask or any shape that you want. I'm using a heart mask here, and I've just taped that to a piece of white cardstock, and then I will just play with the arrangement of these flowers in this heart shape, and then I will just layer them together. And yeah, one thing that you want to be aware of when you're doing this technique is that you want to glue it down very well. You don't want any parts that are sticking up or any parts that could get caught, because we are going to be blending over top of it. You don't want to peel off these different pieces. You still might have a little bit of peeling, but if you can limit it, it's a lot more helpful when you get to the next part of this technique. So I'm just going to add those in that heart shape there. I'm adding the leaves and just filling it in a little bit more. So yeah. And then I will go back to the ice cream cone one. Sorry, we're jumping around a little bit here. But I will take off the mask to reveal that heart shape, and then I have another piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to lay all of these ice cream cones in various different positions. I cut about, you probably want to cut about 5 or 6 of these ice cream cones to fit here. I had already done this technique, so I had an extra piece of an ice cream cone there, you can see, and I just used it rather than cutting a 6th ice cream cone, but I'd say 5 or 6 ice cream cones will fill an A2 background. You could also cut it down beforehand if you want as well. I cut it down afterward. So then I'm just going to arrange these last few pieces in here. You'll see I actually end up changing it after I cut it down, but that's okay. You can always change your mind and adapt. So I cut it down a little bit because I wanted a border, and then I peel off a piece and add a new piece. Again, for this, you really want to make sure all of those pieces of the ice cream cone are glued down really well. So I'm going to bring in Distress Oxide inks. I find the kind of more pigment inks work really well for this. Having inks that blend really well together are really nice. And these ones, the Distress Oxide inks, blend beautifully together. I'm using the colors Salvaged Patina, Squeezed Lemonade, and Saltwater Taffy. I'm just adding these in various different places on this background. I'm using some domed foam blenders, and these work really nicely with the Distress Oxide inks. You can see I have to come back in with the glue just to make sure all these pieces are down and glued well. This is a little bit tricky with this ice cream cone because there's intricate pieces in the cones and stuff, but yeah. I'm just adding these different colors around on the background, blending over these die cuts, and this just adds a cool effect. I think it's really fun and unique, and it kind of allows you to see the different texture within these. So you can use really any die cuts you have. I recommend like a layering set so that you can see the dimension in this. And then I just will blend between those different colors to get a more even blend. And then I want to distress it up a little bit, so I'm using some water and I'm just going to spray it flick it onto the background, and then I will pick it up with a towel. Because these inks are water reactive, it will create a fun distress look. I will then pull up this background and just place it off to the side. I'll clean up this area, and then I'm going to bring in some new colors. So I'm using, for the next one, I will be using saltwater taffy, kitsch flamingo, and spun sugar, because I'm going for more of a monochromatic look for this one, which I think is another way you can use this. You can use any color scheme you want, but I think monochromatic was really fun and a little bit different, but I also liked the rainbow one for the ice cream cones, so yeah. I'm going to start very light in the center of this heart. This is with spun sugar, and so I will just blend a little bit there. And then I will go in with the saltwater taffy around that. I'm kind of radiating out from the heart shape that I've created, and I will get darker as I go. So I have spun sugar and then saltwater taffy, and then the kitsch flamingo will finish it off. And I will just blend out with the kitsch flamingo into that white of the background. And then I will just come back in with these colors just to create a more even blend, and I will just help it to try to blend into the white a little bit more. This is another way you can make a background with these, and I think there's so much texture and dimension here, and I think it's just a really, really fun and cool technique. Really, really cool. And then I will just put these away, and you will see I will bring them in again. Oh, wait, I'm going to also splatter this one with some water and to distress it up a little bit and give it a little bit of texture. Because we are using the distress oxide inks, they are water reactive. So yeah. These really opaque and creamy inks worked really, really well for this technique, but you could try other inks as well. Now I have both of my backgrounds out, and I'm going to splatter them with some white and some gold paint. So I have some gold paint here, and then I got a little bit too much, so I just put it back in. And then I will also get some white paint here. And then I will add water to these so that they are easier to splatter. Sorry about the shaking here. I was trying to get the paint out of the bottle, but it was a lot more aggressive than it needed to be. So once I have water in here, I'm just actually going to use my fingers to flick these onto the backgrounds, but you can use a paintbrush or other things that you have to splatter it. I just thought this worked really, really well, and it got the splatters on. And I think this just adds a little bit more interest to these backgrounds, and I think it just elevates them. Then I will go in with the gold one that I have, and I will splatter that as well. And then to finish these off, I will just put them on card bases, which you'll see here in a moment. But I'm going to finish splattering them first. I wanted a lot of splatter on there to give them a lot of interest. So I have added some cardstock or cardboard onto the back. This is really thin cardboard. I really like it to layer and give dimension to my backgrounds. It just adds a lot of interest. And then I have also added some gold cardstock around the ice cream background to tie into the gold splatters. And then I will use some sentiment strips that I already have. These are from the Spellbinders Mini Everyday Sentiments, and I hot foiled them onto some cardstock, and then I cut them out using the coordinating die to create sentiment strips, and I thought these worked really, really well with the gold splatter in different pieces. Next, I'm bringing in some gold pearls, and these will just play nicely into the gold that we already have, but then it will also it also will create the centers for my flowers, and I really, really like using pearls as centers for flowers because I think it brings so much more interest and dimension. I will just use my pickup stick here to place those into the centers of the flowers. I was also debating using these pink hearts, but they weren't quite the right shade of pink, so I decided on white instead. And I will just place these in the little holes that I didn't quite have a die cut in, and this will just fill them in and add a little bit more interest. I will also add the sentiment there on the heart, and yeah, that will pretty much finish off this card. I don't think there was a lot more I did. Oh, I also created a coordinating envelope for this card by just blending a little bit of that pink ink into the corner of the envelope. You could get a lot more creative with this. I just thought that was a fun way to create a card, or create a coordinating envelope, sorry. So after I add all of these white hearts, I will move on to the next one. I'm going to start by adding this sentiment. I thought this sentiment was perfect. It says, "Hello, sweet friend," and I think it goes so well with those ice cream cones. And then I will just grab I will add a white heart and also some like white iridescent kind of sequins around the sentiment. And I think these white iridescent sequins just brought it all together. It played so nicely with these ink colors and stuff, and I think just added a lot of interest to this card. So once I have finished up there, this is all that there is to this project today. I hope you enjoyed this technique, and go check out the other video with it and get more inspiration with it. So yeah. Also, I'm going to leave a little update on video upload times down in the description box below for you to check out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and come back next week for a new video. If you are interested in any of the supplies I used today, check the description box below. For more inspiration, please consider liking and subscribing, and for even more inspiration, check out my Instagram and Pinterest accounts at Misti Arts and Crafts. Thank you so much again. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.